Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather with Sim again. I hope you guys are all having a great Wednesday so far, and as well as a great start to your day. And today is January 22nd, 2025, and in today's forecast, we are going to be talking about a huge weather pattern change that's going to be coming to the United States by the time we get into February, and this is going to be very noticeable as we will be seeing much of the United States, especially the eastern and southern United States, warming up dramatically as we get into February, which could cause a lot of rain to develop by the time we get into February, and maybe even some thunderstorms. So we will need to watch this weather pattern change very closely, as this is going to be a lot different than what we've been doing with right now. Now, we still can't rule out a cold shot of air as we get into February, but overall, for the first half of February, it does look like we're going to be in a warmer than normal pattern. So we will need to be watching February very closely, as it is going to be a lot different month than what we've been doing with lately. But if you are new here to the YouTube channel, or if you haven't subscribed already, make sure to go down below and click that subscribe button, as we do accurate and daily weather forecasts on this channel. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up too as well. Those help out more than you know, and those are much appreciated. And of course, make sure to share this with any friends, family, or anyone who you know on social media. If you guys would please do that, that would be much appreciated, so that way we can help get the word out to everyone. But let's first start out by giving you guys an overview on what we are going to be seeing these next few days. And we still got that winter storm ongoing in the southern United States, especially over here in the south and southeast, still continuing to bring that snowfall. So we will need to be watching the Carolinas, Georgia, and as well as the panhandle of Florida throughout the rest of this morning and even into the early afternoon hours, as there will still be some snowfall around. So we will need to continue to watch it, as that snowfall is still going to be rolling on through those areas, but then it should die down by late afternoon and head into the ocean. So like I said, we will be watching it very closely, but thankfully that will be over by later today. But if you are going to be traveling this morning, make sure you use extreme caution on roadways, as some of those roadways, even over there into Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, are still covered with snow, as we got extreme cold warnings still in effect. Now, let's tell you guys about what been happening yesterday by taking a look at the last 24-hour snow reports. This is historic snow reports from the last 24 hours. And as you guys can see, we've been seeing historic amounts of snowfall down here along the Gulf Coast, all the way back up there into the Carolinas, guys. And some of these reports are crazy, because we never seen this much snowfall down here along the Gulf Coast and into the Carolinas, as a lot of these areas have gotten up to 12 inches, guys. Look at that, right off the coastal areas of North Carolina, and I think that's on one of those islands. We're talking anywhere from 8 to 12 inches. But even down here in the panhandle of Florida, especially by Pensacola, back over there into Mobile, even parts there of southern Alabama, we've seen up to 12 inches of snowfall, like I said. So it's definitely not good news that we've been seeing a lot of reports of around 8 to 12 inches, guys. And we even seen some of those even develop down here in Louisiana, as we even seen a lot of 8 to 12 inch reports even down there towards Lafayette, even over there towards Lake Charles. And I know there's only like a few reports of around 4 to 6 inches of snow down there, because there's only a blue dot showing up. But there has actually been a few 8 to 12 inch reports down there near the New Orleans area, especially around this area right here. We've been seeing some 8 to 12 inch reports off of another website. So this is definitely not good news, like I said, as a lot of these areas have really been seeing that snowfall yesterday. And of course, we're going to continue to watch it very closely, as it's still going to continue to bring that snowfall rainfall to the coastal areas of the Carolinas back down there into Georgia and as well as the panhandle of Florida. Now, let's start by going over what we can expect as we head into the later parts of our January, and this is going to kind of take us towards the pattern change that's going to be coming, but the next system that we may need to watch for could be a little bit of snow and rain by the time we get into the beginning of next week. So we will continue to watch this system very closely as it could be one of our next big weather makers. Doesn't look to bring anything significant, but it still could bring some impacts down here in the southern United States, anywhere from Texas all the way back up there into the Carolinas, where we could be seeing some rain, maybe even a few rumbles of thunder, as a lot of Mexico moisture will be surging on in. So this will be a something to watch for, like I said, as we get into Monday of next week. But as of right now, though, we are not really seeing any signs of this being anything in the way of a dangerous storm system, but we will be watching it closely for you guys, as this could still be one of our next big weather makers. And then after that, we may need to watch another storm system rolling on through, which this one could bring some heavier rainfall to parts there of the deep south and as well as the lower Ohio Valley by the time we get into the very end of January, especially on Thursday of next week. And this one could then turn into a winter storm by the time we get into February 1st, which will be at the very end of next week, where we could maybe even be seeing a big time winter storm rolling on through, which might bring some significant impacts. Like I said, this is definitely not looking good for a lot of you guys, as we very well could be talking about the potential once again for another big time winter storm. But once again, though, we will also be tracking this warmer air surging on in, not from the Rockies but from the Gulf of Mexico, which will likely cause another big storm to play out. We just don't know how it will be, but what we do know, though, is that some cold air will try to surge on in north of it, which could bring a mixture of rain and snow across the lower Ohio Valley with a winter storm just to the north of there. So we will be watching this very closely as we get into Saturday, February 1st, and this could continue to be a pretty dangerous weather system. But once again, we don't really know how everything will play out, but we will be watching it closely for you guys, as this could be another one of our big weather makers, if why not a significant winter storm. Now, let's start talking about this weather pattern change that's going to likely be going to the United States by the time we get into the beginning of February. And as you guys can see, as of right now, we will be dealing with that cold air across the United States as we get into the next few days, including Thursday and Friday. But look what happens by the time we get into the beginning of next week. We start to see a little bit more warm air start to surge on in from the Gulf of Mexico, which is going to try to push a lot of that cold air out. And it's mainly going to be the central United States that's going to be getting on more of that warmer air. So this will be something to watch for by the time we get into the beginning of next week. And then after that, we continue to see that warm air around across much of the United States. The only difference is that we're going to have this little small area of cold air, kind of crazy, but we'll have this little area of cold air right there, possibly bringing this winter storm, because like I said, this is going to be on February 1st. And look at that, this is also going to be on February 1st. So it kind of tells us that we're going to have this small area of cold air right there, possibly bringing that winter storm. And then that warm air is going to try to intensify by the time we get a few days after the first day of February. So pretty much after that winter storm heads out, this warm air is going to try to continue to strengthen. And when that happens, this warm air will be so so strong, it will push all that cold air back there, and then we're going to see that change in temperatures, where we see those below normal temperatures out there in the west, which this one could be a significant one for those areas out there to the west due to how big it is, while we're going to be seeing a much bigger warm up out here in the east, as warm moist air is going to try to surge on in from the Gulf of Mexico. And when these two air masses collide with each other, we might need to watch an area down here for maybe some severe weather as we get into February. But once again, though, too far out to really tell. But we will definitely keep an eye on it for you, so make sure to subscribe to the channel, as we will continue to keep you guys up to date with the latest. And of course, we might even see that warm air continue even as we get towards the middle of our February. Now, the final things that we're going to look at is going to be your total snowfall and also your total rainfall. Starting off with your total snowfall, I forgot to change the date, by the way, but from now all the way to February 7th, as you guys can see, we will be tracking the potential for some more snowfall out there out west, especially when we see that cold air start to surge back on in there, which could definitely bring a significant change in snowfall to where we could be seeing a lot more snowfall than usual across the higher elevations, especially areas like Jackson, back over there into the higher elevations in the Cascades. Even the Sierra Nevadas could even get on some snowfall too as well. We're even talking the higher elevations over there in Utah. We could be even seeing up to 2 feet in some areas. Some areas like over there in Colorado, especially the higher elevations, might get up to 48 inches. Who really knows exactly how it will be out as we get into February, but I definitely do think we will see a return of significant snowfall by the time we get into the beginning of our February. So we definitely will be watching it closely. We just don't know exactly what's going to happen. So if I were you, I would probably take this with a grain of salt. And then if we compare that to your total rainfall, once again, I did forget to change the date on this too as well, but once again, we will be watching a pretty big area for potentially some higher rainfall by the time we get into February, which once again might be something that could even bring some severe weather to this area down there in Dixie Alley, where we could be seeing those shots of cold air collide with this warm air, and once again that brings a favorable environment for maybe some severe weather in that area. We just don't know exactly what's going to happen, so once again, take this with a grain of salt still, as we are heading over 10 days out from February, but I definitely do think we will need to watch it very closely, as we could be seeing some significant changes in our weather. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's weather forecast. Consider subscribing to the channel, as we upload every day on this channel, and once again, we do daily and accurate forecasts every single day. So if you guys would like to stay tuned for more, consider clicking that subscribe button down below, as we will also keep you guys up to date with the latest. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up too as well. Those help out more than you know, and those are appreciated. And of course, make sure to leave any questions, comments, or concerns that you guys have down below. Feel free to leave anything down below, and I'll get to those comments in just a second. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your Wednesday, and we will see you in the next one. Thank you all so much for watching, and stay safe out there.